What's up, everybody? We're going to answer a question today. How much vertical can you gain in 1 year?
Oh.
Yeah. We're gonna cover all the different variables that can possibly affect this. What's the max amount? What's the least amount? And how it can affect your training, and what can you change in your training so that you can maximize how much vertical you gain in 1 year. Before we get into it, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors over at THPstrength.com. If you want to jump higher, there's actually 2 guarantees that they have in place right now. The first one, we will decrease your knee pain scores within 1 week. And if not, we're going to give you a refund on your money. You got to make sure you do exactly what we say. Don't miss a workout. Go to a video call. Make sure it's tendinopathy that you have. And if so, yeah.
Hey, Isaiah.
What?
You know
Oh, wait. I didn't say the second guarantee. 3 inches of vertical in 6 months, or we'll train you for free until you do.
And you have to make every single workout. You have to do every workout, and you can't be hurt.
Yeah, stop being a lazy B word and do the training.
That being said, lazy B words. Have you been weary? How about we give them a discount? What? I did this out of order. Are you tired? Are you upset? Do you have no life purpose? Nothing is promised. Not love, not money, not happiness. But training every day, that can be promised. So sign up today. Find purpose. Find love. Find love in your health. Find love in your knees. Use code THP at checkout for 10% off your first month.
Also, this is a little random. John, you'll be happy to hear
Yeah?
that I'm being called arrogant now.
Yes!
And I just want to put this out there.
I'm next.
I was never humble. I just talk shit in my head. And I don't, yeah. But, yeah.
I'm
I
a
do think
lover,
the
not a
best.
fighter. So
I do think I jumped the highest. And
I have no problem with that notion that you're the best.
Yeah.
If you think you're better than him and you jump higher than him,
Prove it.
Prove it. Prove it.
Measure the vertex, measure your reach, send us the video.
And I have to see you measure your reach because
Also-
I know that I pulled his arm out of socket to measure his reach, and I've done it numerous times.
Also, I do want to make this a clear point. Just because it's a Guinness record doesn't mean that it's a world record. It just
World
means
record.
Guinness verified it. But guess who's also, I think, a more accurate verifier?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm an arrogant prick for saying that. My bad. I'm sorry. It's just that my entire life's work is perfecting every little aspect of vertical jump. Why would I be an expert in this field?
Yeah. We're both confident about what we do.
Anything
And
you'd
then
like
there's
to add?
Austin.
I am
What
not,
are you arrogant about?
I am not confident. I love everyone. I think you all are better than me in everything.
To
now.
be fair,
I need 2 months.
I have a genuine vested interest in making people jump higher. I do want there to be someone that jumps higher than me one day.
I just want it to be legitimate.
Yeah. I just legitimately I think he has the best chance at it, actually. We did see a high, or he's
Yeah.
20. This is a
We saw a
20-year-old kid. He
20-year-old
probably
from California
tested like 48, 49 around there, like a
Yeah, I saw
legit.
that video.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
talked to
kinda
him. He showed me how he measured his reach, and it was like this, and he was barefoot. But I told him how to measure it. But that's somebody that if he wants to and does good training, he could break it. So
He won't, though. You want to know why? Because I'm going to keep making you jumping higher and higher and higher.
I'm going to hit 50 one of these days.
yeah. But hopefully that didn't put you guys off from listening to us.
sorry.
And if you did, if they put you off,
It
goodbye.
did.
I'm sorry to lose you.
Yeah.
I'm really sad. I'm really sorry. Come back. Come back.
Please. Come back. All right. Having said that,
Return dad is really fucked now.
let's start. Let's start. I think Austin. How much was the most vertical you ever gained in a year? You think?
Oof. That's a good question. Probably around 6 inches, I would say, realistically.
So like this much?
Yeah, that much. I would say 6 inches, definitely. That was when I started, prioritizing my health and going all in with the workouts at THP. That's when my vertical shot up the most in a year's time.
How old are you?
That was recent. That was probably 2022. My vert shot up that much.
Oh.
It's like probably 6 years. It was 6 years. 6 inches, right? I would say. When I was
So you're
flying.
saying so were you trained and then you lost vertical and then you gained 6 inches back, or was it like you
No.
were all time best and then you went 6 inches from your all time best?
I was jumping pretty consistently around like 40. Well, actually, no. Yeah, I guess I did lose some. I lost some first and then came back. So
Yeah.
no. I guess most in a year from scratch would probably be like around 4 inches. I would say.
Okay.
That's more.
So that's like
realistic.
PR to PR was
Yeah,
4,
yeah.
and then most that you've lost and then gained back was 6.
Yeah.
In the span of a year.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Ooh, this is tough. I mean, it's like age dependent. So like early on when I was in 7th grade, from 6th to 7th grade with like developing and everything else, I went from touching the net to touching rim. So that's like 8 inches or something like that. And then I went from touching the rim to like dunking the next year, and that's like another 6 inches. But that was like 20 to 26 and 26 to
Yeah, I didn't
34.
count
Like
that.
I don't really count that. But if you're saying past development, when my vertical was relatively sustained, I would say probably 3 inches, maybe 3. I think I tested all-time 39 and a half when it was 2020. That was the highest I ever tested. And then I would say last September, so not 2023, but 2022, I had my highest day ever jumping, and my head was at the rim, and that was by far the best I'd ever done. I'd assume
I like that day.
I probably had a 42 on that day and a half, maybe, yeah. Some little more, maybe. I'd say lowballing at 42, but I'd say, yeah, that was probably the highest I jumped, and around 3. I would say around 3, like from best ever to best ever in 1 year.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's longer than a year, though. Oh, no, because I was worse, actually, the year prior. Like, I was technically jumping like 38 most of the year prior,
Yeah.
and then got up to 42, et cetera, maybe 43. So, yeah, 3 inches, I'd say.
That's how progress happens for me too. I would say pre or during puberty, the most I gained was like 6 to 8 inches, around there. And then post 18, 19 years old, I think the most was like 4 inches when I first started working with John. I had like a 42 when I started working with you, and then I think the next year I hit.
It's getting really gloomy. I need to change the ND filter, so go ahead, Isaiah.
All right. I think I went to like a 42 to 46 in about a year, maybe 3 inches, so 3 to 4 inches in a year after I was done developing. What's really interesting though is like some of my later like peaks in vert, I would PR, my vertical would like decrease a little bit, and I'd be plateaued for a couple years, and then it'd be like 2-inch PR, 1.5-inch PR, 3-inch PR. Sometimes the vertical would go down. Like I hit 47, then it went down. I was stuck at a 46 for a long time. Then I hit a 48. Then I went down to a 47. Was at a 47 for a long time, and then I hit 50.5. So I was technically a 3.5-inch PR in the span of a year. 2021 dunk camp, 22 dunk camp was about 3.5, potentially 4 if you count the flight times on my height check in 1 year when I was already in an elite level.
Let's talk about clusters of performances, though.
Clusters is
We're looking at
huge.
clusters versus just best to best, like outlier to outlier, is difficult. I don't even think that's like necessarily accurate.
Yeah.
If you're looking at clusters of performances, it's like consistently like an inch or two, I'd say.
Yeah.
For me, at least. Like my cluster goes up like an inch or two. If I'm training hard, I'm talking year round, I'm training 2 to 3 hours a day. I mean, maybe more. Probably 2 inches. I'd say probably 2 inches.
Yeah.
If I'm consistently jumping the same plant every single week, and I'm training hard, staying reasonably healthy,
Yeah.
probably about 1 to 2 inches.
Honestly, this year has been the biggest increase in my cluster,
Yeah,
I would think.
I was going to say that, yeah.
2022, I hit 50.5 one time, and then there would be like some outlier days I would test and get like 48, 49. I think this year I've tested over 52 times, and then flight time wise, I've done it like 3 more times or something, and like so the cluster has gone up a lot recently.
What was your flight time on the last session when you were getting neck at rim?
I would
on
say your
windmills?
cluster's gone up like
It was-
2 or 3 inches in a year.
Yeah, it was the same as the UCF session. It was like 0.967,
Dude, it was
0.97.
nuts. That was like the highest I've ever seen you jump, honestly. But maybe I
Yeah.
guess not based on flight time, but it was ridiculous.
I think it's because I was on 10 feet at UCF, and then
Oh no, it's
9.9.
starting. The rain start. I feel the drizzles.
Should we cut it? We
Rainy
technically
podcast.
describe how much we gained in 1 year.
Did you guys see the new Twister movies coming out? My camera might fall over.
I'll catch it with my.
Let me know when you feel uncomfortable. Real quick, let's like speed run variables that affect how much vertical you can gain in 1 year.
Injury.
Okay, so injuries 1,
Fatigue.
like long-term fatigue,
Long-term
chronic fatigue.
Stress and fatigue, I would say.
Yeah.
Your dating
Training
life.
age. Training age is a huge one.
Training
Specifically,
training age is probably the most important one, I would say.
training
More
age is
training
different, by
age-
the way. Like, you can be 40 with a training age of 6 months and make more progress than a 21-year-old with a or a 22-year-old with a training age of 5 years.
Training age is more indicative of your actual like age in terms of your adaptive abilities than your actual biological age. Assuming you're post-puberty, like your training age is more important than your physical age, debatably, right? Like you could have a 40-year-old that trains for a year for the first time, like he has a training age of 0 and his vertical goes from like 20 to 30 versus someone that has a training age of like 16 in my case, where 16 years, where I might get half an inch better in 2 years or something like that, right? Because obviously you have diminishing returns as you get better. It's harder to get better when you're already great or the best. It's really, really hard to get even a little bit better. You have to do everything perfectly, and Isaiah can attest to this. So I would say that's probably the number one thing is what's your training age, and that's why I said it depends. So like I take a lot of pride in improving people's verticals when they're already good, because that's the hardest thing to do. It's not hard to get better when you suck, because you suck. So the only way you can go up is up. When you're great, there's a lot more room to go down than there is for you to get better or go up. That's why you look at the clusters. You don't always want to just look at your outlier days or week to week. Like, oh, I wasn't at my best. It's like, well, how far were you off your best? You're like, half an inch. Like, oh, well, then you're doing great. Like, because once the cluster goes up, your outlier day also will go up.
I always say I like to see my improvement as I like to gauge progress by how much my bad days are improving. Because a good day, so many things have to go right, and you have adrenaline and environment as a huge factor in your outlier days. But your bad days are always going to be your bad days, and you're going to have them very frequently. So that's a good gauge of, like John said, the cluster going up. I do want to cover 2 more questions if the rain can be nice to us.
Please, rain.
One, is there a genetic component to how much person A versus person B responds to a certain stimulus? And then the second question, should a beginner periodized training? I've been getting this question a lot, like, because they see me doing 3x5. I said, oh, I improved from touching rim or dunking to East Bay within a year, and all I did was 3x5 squatting and
Why wouldn't you?
jumping every day.
That's my thing.
Would I have improved more by doing periodized training? And
it's not about would you have improved more. It's about what's your genetic ceiling. Like, you periodize training, your ceiling, your potential ceiling is higher. When you don't periodize training, your ceiling is lower. So you might get there sooner by jumping every day or squatting, but now your ceiling is lower, and you might get there, and you might have way more barriers that end up stopping you or totally inhibiting you versus your total genetic ability. Like if Isaiah does perfect periodized training, and let's say he has the motivation and whatever else to do perfect training from 12 all the way to 30, right? He might hit his genetic peak at 35, and that might be 54, right? Now, I've had to, if you're very good as a coach, you can, despite bad training decisions when people are young, you can help athletes still reach their genetic potential. But because that athlete did a bunch of shit that limited their ability to adapt at certain times or caused injury, they lost a bunch of training time. Or they're now permanently limited from doing certain things that I would like to do with that athlete. There's stimuli I've never done with him. Why? Because he can't do it. Because he's, pardon my language, he's fucked up.
I would make the argument, because you said, yeah, I might reach a higher vertical sooner, jumping every day and whatever, 3x5. I would make the argument against that, actually, because of injury. Sorry,
say that again?
I would make the argument against that because of injury. Like, I jumped every day, but I was so messed up that I would have benefited more and I think progressed faster if I would have had higher quality training sessions and weight room sessions.
His progress went like this.
That's how mine was.
Yeah, literally.
I jumped every day. I gained a lot and then died.
Mm-hmm.
Versus I would say my progression has been like this. I usually mess myself up with periodized training because I'm testing, but I've generally trended upwards over time. And as I've gotten older, my specificity has gotten higher and better with shit genetics. So,
yeah, I would say if you're younger, I actually don't recommend, unless you're like a 12 to 14-year-old around there. And I would just say play a lot of sports, jump a lot.
General to specific,
but
man.
if you're going through puberty and stuff like that, and you see my videos, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna say I didn't jump every day, but I think that is not the right way to go about it. I think get your jumping reps in the session, have long sessions when you're healthy, still get after it in the weight room and stuff like that.
It's just gonna come at a cost. If you do that, it's gonna come at a cost. It might come at a cost that is...
You're gonna get hurt.
Yeah, and that cost might be enough that you never jump again. because you hate it. Like there's a guy, Kyle Crowley, who did that, and he will never jump again because of what he did, because of his choice to do that. So it is a calculated risk. You are taking a calculated risk by doing that. I would not recommend it if you want to have long-term progress and you want longevity in your career. Like, yeah, Kyle Eastbade, but he'll never jump again. And he was done jumping at 25 because he permanently ruined his knees and gave himself osteoarthritis at 21 years old, 22 years old. He can't walk upstairs without pain for the rest of his life. So is that worth it to you? You got lucky. Isaiah was one of the lucky ones. He still has a lot of defects and problems as a result of his choice to do that.
Broken.
He is broken. It is now getting to the point where we should probably stop this podcast. Austin, what would you like to add?
That was a depressing end, but you can avoid all those problems if you sign up for THP.
Sign up, I guess. That's it.
Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.